So today we're going to talk about crushing Facebook ads in 2023. And yes, I know we might be facing a recession soon. And I know things are going to be really difficult for some individuals. And by the way, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them below. We will handle all of them. If I see them, I'm going to answer them. Now, there is a big scare about what the new year can bring. But I also want to let you know something very simple and true. Facebook hasn't been this easy in years. We have a smarter machine than we've ever had. We've got easier tools to use than we've ever had. And in the world of direct consumer and lead gen, we actually have a greater opportunity than we ever have had. And so what we're going to cover right away, and by the way, we're also going to have a huge masterclass this weekend. You can sign up for it at apply.facebookdisruptor.com. It's free. We're going to be going over frameworks and success and documentation. I'm going to be giving away a whole bunch of tools that I use to scale my 8 and 9 figure businesses and clients, and the things that I've been doing for the last decade that have helped me drive over $1 billion in revenue. I'm going to be giving it all away. But what we're going to talk about right now is why 2023 could be your best year ever and what you need to do to absolutely crush it. And the 3 things that you need to keep in mind. And remember, if you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the chat. If I see them, I will answer them. So, first thing, number 1, is we are going to see this huge shift and this huge divide between folks that don't trust data and try to micromanage the machine, that ultimately try to go off of as many audiences as they possibly can and try as many ads as they possibly can, as many ad sets and these bidding models and all of these different things to micromanage the machine learning system. And we're going to see the people that set the machine up to learn so that they don't need the micromanagement. Now, the folks that lean into audiences and ads and bidding models and hacking it are going to be very good at making Facebook look good. The Facebook report is going to be solid for a couple of months, easy. The problem is making Facebook look good isn't actually what's going to grow your business. Making Facebook look good is almost always predicated on taking as much credit as possible for all of the work. We rely on attribution. The problem here is that when you change up audiences all the time, you're also changing the type of people that come into your store. So all of the post-click optimizations that you're making become obsolete. If you change interest groups and lookalikes, as soon as you start to bring in different types of customers, all of the choices you made to make the types of customers that you have behave better get thrown out the window. The more times you change ads, I can't tell you how many people I see say, well, I've got to test 20, 30, 40 ads a week. Really? Do you? Are your ads dying quickly because they're not good? Or are your ads dying quickly because you're testing so many other things that the ads that you do have don't have a chance to stabilize and ultimately mature? Are you facing an issue where maybe the reason you need to do more work and more audience testing and more ads and more bidding models and all of this stuff just to stabilize Facebook is because of all of the testing that you're doing? If you're not investing in stabilizing the platform to be projectable, to be something that you can rely on, ultimately you're investing in it to be unstable. You're projecting it you're investing in something that you cannot rely on. And so the more times you're looking at interest groups and lookalikes and retargeting audiences and different offers and different ads, the more times you make a change, the less stable the thing will be. And it doesn't matter how good Facebook looks in the Facebook report. What really matters is how consistent and efficient is the traffic and type of user that comes from a Facebook ad into your store so that ultimately you can improve what happens after the click, the conversion rate, the LTV, the second purchase rate, the cash flow. And that's going to be a huge divide. I want to let you know right now that the solution, if somebody says the solution to this problem is to make things more complicated, to test more aggressively, to change things up more often, to work more so that Facebook looks better, understand that that's person's definition of success is not tied to the growth and success of the business, but far more to the way that the platform reports. And that's a huge liability. And we see this most often when hiring ad agencies. Ad agencies want to look good. They want their ROAS to look nice. ROAS doesn't even mean anything. Is ROAS cash flow? No, it isn't. Is ROAS profit margin on that day? No, it isn't. You might say, well, it's profit margin on the sale. Is it? What about that day? Is your ROAS really the reason that you made money today? Or is it how much credit Facebook takes for the sales that may have also been taken credit for by TikTok and by YouTube and by email and by search? And at the end of the day, what really matters is how much money did you put out and how much money did you come in? And even that doesn't actually matter, because what really matters is how much money did you put out today and how much future cash flow for your business did you secure? And what is the timeline for that cash flow? That's what really, really matters. So the biggest lesson I want to come away with here, number one, is that the way you're going to win in 2023 is to stabilize and simplify your ad accounts. That's the number one thing we have to understand right off the bat, is that stability, and we don't mean day to day, we mean week over week, month over month, and more importantly, less variation in what you are spending your money on. Because the number one thing to really keep in mind is it's a machine learning algorithm. And the more you spend in teaching it to do its job well, the better it's going to get at doing that job consistently. And what you need more than anything is consistency with the types of people that are coming into your store. We cover a lot more of this in this weekend's masterclass. You can check it out at apply.facebookdisruptor.com. If you have any questions, go ahead. Drop them below. I will do my best to, if I see them, I will answer them. And I would love to help you guys out as much as I can today and really kind of take maximum use of this time. Now, the second thing that I wanted to get to is, in terms of Facebook, is going to be how we measure results. And this is a big thing that we're going to be covering inside the lesson this week. And actually, inside of the webinar this week that we're going to have the masterclass, we're going to get down into the Scrum doc. And I'm actually going to give you the document and a bunch of ebooks for it. So sign up just for that, because that's, a huge goodie. And people have been paying me hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars consulting to set that up for them. I'm going to give that all away for free. Again, check it out at apply.facebookdisruptor.com. You can go to disruptorschool.com, facebookdisruptor.com. Check it out. Get on the thing as best you can, because that's going to be super, super awesome. You can even go to links.facebookdisruptor.com, and there's a link in that little spot to sign up for it. So the next thing that we need to focus on here, by the way, love Liquid Death. Everybody else a big Liquid Death fan? Smash that like button if you dig the Liquid Death. Throw me some devil horns. Anyway, next thing, measurement. Now, this is one of the biggest issues that people say is, well, I can't trust Facebook's attribution. I can't trust the measurement. I don't know if the ROAS, all this stuff is wildly unstable, all these things, what I need to really measure on. Well, really it comes down to a simple equation. Let's establish an objective truth that we can agree on. And then based on that, we can focus on how to solve for that problem. So what's the objective truth that we can agree on? Ultimately, what really matters is the profitable scaling margin of the customers that we get. Doesn't matter about ROAS. That doesn't matter because it's not a real number, because attribution isn't real anyway. What matters is, what is the lifetime value of a customer? And how much ultimately does it cost to get a sale and not acquire the customer, but to make all of the sales in that customer's journey? And how much does the product cost for us? What's our profit for each customer journey? Now that's LTV, CPA, and COGS. And by the way, they're talking about PSM, profitable scaling margin. There's a great course on disruptorschool.com. You can go check it out. where I actually give you the entire workflow in the document and share literally everything. And I give you real world examples of my own businesses. And with that, you can even go so far as to project out, like I think I get 38 weeks in the future. And I literally just hand you the doc and walk you through everything. There's like hours of really great stuff on there. Not here to talk about that right now. The point is, what we need to focus on is those three metrics: LTV, CPA, and COGS. Now, what this means is there is going to be, that's our objective truth. So let's break that down to three parts. Part number one, we have one offer, ultimately, maybe two, that are the best fit between what it costs to make those products and sell the products along that journey and how much money that customer is ultimately worth to us. Now, maybe a customer that buys, maybe we have a product, we get a ROAS of 3, and that customer on average buys 1.25 times. Maybe we have something else where our ROAS is a 1, but that customer buys 3 times. And those additional purchases happen through email or search, or maybe a retargeting ad on Facebook, but it's really cheap. That means that customer is worth way more money to us in the long term, and we're securing future cash flow, which means that we don't need to live and die by the ROAS or MER on any given day, because we're setting it up so that even if we didn't advertise, we'd be making money. So in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months from now, if you were to just turn off your ads for a day, you'd be making more money from those customers that are coming back and buying again and again and again than you made today. That's how you grow a business. So let's establish that's one thing that we can understand is true. So there's one offer, maybe two, that are absolutely best fit for that situation. I'd argue if you're not spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a day, and hey, look, I'm in a business where I'm spending over $100,000 a day and we're making $250,000 a day in sales. Like that's, not everybody is there. But maybe you're spending $50 a day. There is one offer that is fundamentally best and getting somebody to come back and buy a second time. Focusing on that offer ultimately secures future cash flow, which means that you don't have to be profitable on day one. Now, maybe you do for the first 30 days or 45 days, but you know, once a customer buys this, they're going to come back and buy again somewhere in that second month. Well, as soon as they start buying again, you don't need to be profitable on day one of those customer journeys anymore, because the customers that bought on day one 45, 60 days ago, they're coming back and buying again, which means you can lose money on day one and it's supplemented by the revenue you're getting from the existing customers that are coming back. So that's a big key. Now, the second part of this that we need to understand, that's LTV. The second part of this we need to understand is COGS, cost of goods. This is very rarely broken into when an agency writes a report. Well, we got a 5X, we got a 10X, great. But how much does the product cost to make? How much does it cost to ship? How much does it cost to give to somebody? What are the overhead? What are the other marketing costs? Well, if you bake that in, I know businesses where they need an 8X ROAS just to break even. I know businesses that can break even on a 0.8. So the point of it is that ROAS number doesn't really matter, but you need to know how much that product costs. So say you're selling a product for $20 and it costs you $5 to make. If you sell that product for $20 and get a ROAS of 1, you lost $5 on that sale. But if that customer is going to come back and buy 2 more times, you made a lot of money. Vice versa. If it costs you $5 to make and $10 to sell a $20 product and that customer never buys again, you made $5 on that customer and you'll never see money in the future. That's really, really important. I don't see most ad agencies talking about that. They're going to be focusing on the $5 thing where you make a $5 profit and never see that customer again because that's a better ROAS. Remember, ROAS doesn't mean anything. You have to start focusing on the numbers that actually matter. And the last thing we're talking about here is CPA. When we talk about CPA, you might say, well, Facebook is unreliable and it's always wild and different. Here's the thing. Facebook is software. Just like Excel, just like Canva, just like Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite or TikTok. It's the same thing for everybody all the time. So if it makes a mistake, quote unquote, it's going to make that mistake, quote unquote, every single time. And what this really matters to us is that week over week, month over month, if we're spending roughly the same amount on Facebook and roughly the same amount on Google, not necessarily dollar amount, but percentage, and we're looking at the volume of sales, that number is going to be a relative number. Thank you, comment on the wicker. I appreciate it. I got that at Marshall's for like $5 or something like that. I appreciate it. That number is going to be basically relatively the same. And what really matters is, what is my blended CPA on this offer? How many of that thing did I sell today? And how much money did I spend today? Let's say I spent $100 or $10,000 or $100,000. Let's say I spent $1,000 today and I sold 50. I know my blended CPA is 20 bucks. Now, some of those sales came from pre-existing customers. Some of those sales came from email. Some of those sales came from organic. Some came from search. Some came from Facebook, whatever. But still, my blended is about 20. Now, some days Facebook's going to show a $50 CPA. Some days it's going to show a 35. Some days it might show a 15 or 100. But if every week, when my blended CPA is roughly a 20, and I know I'm happy with that, what's my Facebook CPA on average? Is it 25? Is it 12? Is it 35? The point is, you can make a relative CPA target for each individual platform. And that is needs to be adjusted when the amount of money you put out there changes, or when the media mix, the balance of how much you spend on Facebook versus Google versus TikTok versus YouTube, how many sales you're getting from email. When that mix changes, your target changes. Now, remember we talked about getting LTV and reoccurring customers? The more reoccurring customers you get, the worse that number on Facebook can be. You can lose money because you're not starting the day at zero. You might be starting the day at 50 bucks or 30,000. So you don't have to make money from the ads you're putting out today. You're no longer a hunter that needs to go out and kill to eat today. You're a farmer that has been planting seeds with fruit that grows all the time. And so if you're watering your plants and you can get 100 people fat for the same effort as it takes for you and 2 others to go kill something and eat today, well, civilization was built by farmers. Mankind existed for 100,000 years in the hunter-gatherer range. You can be a business that's really focused on ROAS today, or you can be a business that's focused on blended CPA, media mix modeling, future cash flow, and LTV. Now, I know this sounds like a really complicated set of stuff, but actually, that's what this weekend's class, again, sign up at apply.facebookdisruptor.com, or just go to links.facebookdisruptor.com, and you can get a link to join that class. It's free. I'll be giving away the doc that I use called Scrum Doc, to look at that. And you can look that across Facebook or even your entire business with ecosystem ROAS, which is a term and a document that I came up with 5-6 years ago, and it's now kind of everywhere. If you've heard ecosystem ROAS, I came up with that, like literally sitting in an office when I was working on the Starbucks and New Balance and Pizza Hut. Those are my clients at the time, and I had to figure out how to prove that this Starbucks ad was profitable. And like, you know, what I was doing for, New Balance, or bringing TRX, the like workout equipment, to market, or Allbirds or Joybird or whatever else, any of these brands, like when I was growing them, how do we prove that what we're doing is any good? And the answer is, if you really want to grow a business, you can't say that this ad makes credit. And that really ultimately brings us down to the last thing that we need to address today, which is optimization and decision making. If you are focused on what ad set, what audience, what campaign drove the sale, at best, you are being reactionary to yesterday's information, low quality data to predict the future. And that data that you're looking at is wildly out of context. And that's a big problem. And that's a reason why you might be testing more and more ads, and why you get a new landing page and it's 5% better or 10% better, and you shift everything to it and you just circle and you chase your tail and the business doesn't really grow and you're still stuck at being a $500,000 a year business or a $7 million a year business, but you can't get bigger. It's because you're making a whole lot of really small impact decisions, and every one of them feels like they're big. But a 20% change on 5% of the business doesn't mean anything. So we have to understand that really, Facebook's job isn't there. Your job in managing Facebook isn't to say, the job of this platform is to make me money, and I need to figure out what ad drives sales. That's the wrong way of thinking. That is a way of thinking that is over a decade old for a platform that wasn't Facebook. That's programmatic thinking. That's email thinking. And the reason that it's really popular is because the people that preach that, number one, don't know how Facebook works. Two, often are not Facebook first marketers. They're taking other platform thinking into Facebook. And by the way, this same logic also works for any social media platform. Anything that is an optimized CPM environment works like this. TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube to a lesser extent. They all work the same as Facebook and Instagram ads. So the point here is not how do I find the ad that does the best. Yes, some ads are better than others. What really matters is how do I set up a machine to not need my management on a day-to-day basis so that it drives me results that are desirable and consistent that get better. That's what you need to be working on. And again, we'll go over all of this stuff way more in detail in this weekend's class. I've been mentioning it like 5 times, but whatever, I'll just keep going for it. Apply.facebookdestructor.com. It's a free class. You can sign up there. We'll be going over all of this stuff. It's an hour-long masterclass. I'm super excited about it. And you're getting a bunch of free stuff afterwards, too. And if you can't make the class, it's 11 a.m. on Saturday. If you sign up for the class, you will get a replay link. So it won't be on YouTube. I'm not going to share it otherwise, but even sign up, even if you can't make it, and you can check out more things there. Now, the point here is, if you're using a bunch of audiences and campaigns and bidding models and ABO and all of this stuff where you need to put in control to try to get the best ROAS today, to make profit margin today, based on everything that we just said, that's a terrible way of thinking. Instead, we need to make Facebook stable enough by giving it a best audience, which is broad, a lack of targeting because every ad makes its own audience. Every piece of content makes its own audience. Like when you're on TikTok and you post a video, you might have 100 followers and it gets 10,000. It's not because your 100 people watch it 100 times. It's because that ad, that piece of content, that video was so good, it earned reach. Ads do the same thing. Ads are nothing more than organic content that you pay people to see. You pay the platform to show to other people. And the better that content is at meeting that platform's business objective, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, anything else is trying to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. As long as you make content that people want to see, it'll go towards that people that want to see it. So when you're making ads, you need to make ads that appeal to the people that you want to speak to so that you get a really low CPM that also drive the actions that are most desirable for you. And to be fair, 4 or 5 ads is all you need to get to $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a day. You don't need 1,000 ads to get there. I've taken tons of brands that are stuck at 3,000 a day to 10. And one of the things that every single one of those situations has in common is it went from 9 campaigns down to 1. We went from 10 different audiences to broad. We got rid of all of these weird testing models. We ran DCTs at a 3-2-2 method. Google that if you want to. It's 3:2:2 method for dynamic creative tests. Check that out. And all we're doing is saying these are our best ads. Now, what I mean by best is they earn attention. So in a CBO environment against broad, these ads earn spend and get that attention for cheap so the CPMs are low so we're able to reach more people. And when we show those ads, our blended CPA across the entire business looks good. That's all you need to do. And then every future test is merely to improve the quality of those ads or to change the business objectives of what those ads are ultimately there to deliver for you. Maybe what you need to do is get a better version of an ad that talks to that person. But I can't tell you how many times people are like, well, UGC is crushing it, so I need 30 UGCs a week. You're basically appealing to the same person, and every new ad that you have that does well just steals from the old ad that did well, which is why you have to cycle ads all the time. And if you stop testing new ones, the old ones that work will just continue to work. You're cannibalizing your success. That's why you have to test that much. Instead, you could say, well, I'm really good at UGC stuff. What if I made some pictures, some image ads? Then I could appeal to folks that don't want to watch the video, or that maybe watch that video, but I can overcome some other objection. I can target different people. I can do retargeting inside of the same piece, because sometimes when somebody sees my ad for the first time, they've actually abandoned cart on 5 of my competitors. That happens all the time. When I was running New Balance, we did a test with Facebook with the very beginning of Optimized CPM back in 2018, when broad targeting first really came on the board with Power 5 to really prove out that it worked. And we noticed that 2 out of every $3 that we spent at broad was targeting somebody that was engaging with content on the platform and taking actions on the site for our competitors. And why this is really important is, you might say, well, interest groups and lookalikes and all this stuff because Facebook data is all stuff. Facebook still knows what content you're looking at. No amount of ad blocking, no amount of privacy is going to tell Facebook is going to block Facebook from seeing what videos you watch. No amount of privacy is going to prevent TikTok from knowing what you hit like on. And if you have pixels on websites and you click on an ad, no amount of ad blocking is going to say, well, this person is going to be able to block Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or anybody else from knowing they were watching a bunch of this content that all look the same from pages that all talk about the same thing. And then they went to a landing page that talks about all of the same stuff because they're crawling all those pages just like Google is. And they spent X amount of time there, fired a couple pixel events, and then came back. At worst, with 100% privacy, Facebook's still going to know what videos you watch, what ads you click on, and how long it takes you to come back. And so every ad is ultimately making its own audience. And so all you need to do with creative testing is figure out the right ads to appeal to the right type of person. Now, it's either to appeal to the same person, but better, or to appeal to different people so that you can scale spend. That's it. If you focus on those things, you're going to absolutely crush Facebook in 2023. And the last point that I'm going to go out with here, and again, I'm going to do a huge masterclass this weekend. Check it out at apply.facebookdisruptor.com. It's free. That's apply, apply.facebookdisruptor, FACEBOOK, and disruptor, DISRUPTER.com, facebookdisruptor.com, apply.facebookdisruptor.com to sign up for the class. We're going to be covering all of this stuff this weekend. The last point that I'm going to say before we get out of this is this. The recession is an opportunity. People buy ads from ads on the internet because it's meeting some need that going to Target won't fix. That going to Walmart's not going to fix. That going to eBay or Amazon isn't going to fix. Generally, what that looks like is a brand that you can get at Target is going to do a pretty decent job at being pretty good to most people most of the time. You can do a really good job at being good to a specific person every time. You can be a specialist. And if you're a specialist, especially in a recession, the big market companies, the big box store brands are going to have to cut costs, which means the products are going to get a little bit worse. It also means that the amount of products they sell is going to go down, which means they're going to have to be more generic and lower quality to meet the needs of their investors and their shareholders, which means that you can do a better quality job to meet very specific needs for very particular types of customers. And in a recession, even if the amount of money that people spend goes down, you can massively scale because you don't need people to spend more money. You just need people to, instead of buying from the big box store, buy from you because you're meeting their needs better. You steal market share in a recession. That's how you grow. I've already done it in the last recession. And I'm super excited with one of my businesses, my women's clothing business. In January, we did $200,000 in revenue. Last month, we did $3.5 million. Next year, we're probably going to do close to $50 million. And the more the recession hits, the more money we're going to make. Because ultimately, we are meeting the needs of a particular type of customer better than the brands that don't care about those customers. We're going to meet their needs better. And so you can go to Walmart or Target or some other place and get a product that is for a low price from a brand that doesn't care about you at all. Or you can go to a direct consumer brand and buy something that's made specifically for you. And they might have 1,000 customers, but they absolutely crush those 1,000 customers. You can choose to be the specialist or you can choose to be the generalist. Specialists make a lot more money. Generalists are put out of business by a brand that can afford to make less. And if you try to take the route of being a lower quality product and compete, you've already lost. That's what we wanted to cover today. That's how you're going to see massive success in 2023. That's how you're going to crush Facebook ads in 2023. Again, if you want to know more information, check out FacebookDisruptor.com. Check out DisruptorSchool.com. We actually have teachers that cover all sorts of different things. You can get courses on profitable scaling margin we covered today. You can also get courses on consumer psychology that we talked about today from the beautiful, amazing woman, Sarah Levinger. Super, super smart. You can join the Facebook Ads MBA program if you want to, but most importantly, sign up for this weekend's class at apply.facebookdisruptor.com, and you're going to get a lot of the docs that we talked about today for free. And you're going to get a much bigger insight into how I project manage my team and my time for profit, and how I'm thinking about Facebook and why it is that I have an 80-90% hit rate of taking 6-figure brands and making them an 8-figure business. Why I am on my 4th 7-figure brand to a 9-figure run rate in the last 5 years. And why 90% of ad agencies fail 90% of their clients. So if you're an ad agency and you want to start scaling your clients instead of scaling your client load so that you don't have to work nearly as hard to make way more money, or if you're a brand that is sick and tired of being scammed by the next ad agency with big promises that will ultimately give you a few great months and then completely fail you, this is for you. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Bye.